Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Exclamation Mark podcast. My name is Crofton Steers, one of your two gamer guides, game genies, if you will, for this episode of the show. Pretty much for all episodes of the show. I don't think I've missed an episode yet. You know who else hasn't missed an episode? My co host, Beau Schwartz. Beau, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. How's it going, Exclamation Mark podcast listeners? Yeah, I haven't missed an episode because all the recording stuff's at my house, and you have a course to take
Hey,
with
whoa,
me
whoa, whoa.
before you can record it without me.
Don't show, it's like the Wizard of Oz. Nobody wants to know what's behind the curtain, Beau.
That's
It's
not
the
true.
magic.
I'm teaching a class in October on how to make podcasts for beginners.
For beginners.
Well, I don't want to oversell my ability here. It's not, it's not neurosurgery, but there are things to know. Anyways, I'm doing good. I hope everyone out there in video game land is doing great, having fun playing games, and not getting their hearts broken. I don't know.
Not getting their
I
hearts.
don't know why I said that.
unless it's their virtual hearts.
Right.
Yeah. So it's been last week. It was slow news week. We talked about a lot of the games we were playing. This week we're going to look a little bit more towards the news side of things because there was a big event, and I'm talking, of course, about Gamescom. Which I tend to mispronounce. I always think there's an N at the end, like Games Conference, but it's an M, like
Yeah, Gamescom,
com.
like as in .com.
Oh, I
Yeah.
guess I didn't even I thought it was
takes
an
place in
abbreviation
Germany,
for-
right? So it's actually like Gamescom or something
yeah.
like that. It's like
Thank you.
Gamescom. I don't know.
That does it. That really helps me a lot.
There-
It was in Cologne this year, which seems like a nice city.
Yeah, it probably smells good too. Oh.
Oh God, this is going to be a horrible episode. Okay. Before we get to it, Beau, you brought my attention to something earlier this week. I want to give you a pulpit to talk about it. So please, tell me what drew your laughter this week.
Oh, this week, if you haven't checked it out, check out the latest Time magazine cover. It's relevant to gamers in that there's a picture of our beloved Palmer Lucky or Palmer Lukey. I'm never sure how to say his last name properly. And they're featuring VR in the thing. So what they thought they decided to do was dress him up in a polo and some jeans without any shoes or socks on, so he's barefoot, and a VR device, and have him floating in the air. But, he's got a gamer body. He's not like, he doesn't work out. He's got a little paunch, and
Okay.
the backdrop is a beach from stockphotosomewhere.com like the worst background, like, hey, VR is so amazing, check out this beach. And people have been photoshopping the beach out and putting him into all kinds of things. One of my favorites so far has been Leonardo DiCaprio hugging him on the Titanic in place of Kate Winslet, which I thought was pretty
It
incredible.
made those Reddit Photoshop battles. I saw a lot of funny
Yeah.
ones. It's funny though, like it is a legitimate concern for in terms of how you're going to promote this. Like there's no way you can make it look cool. And I have tried the Oculus Rift at your house. I know it's a sweet experience, but from a marketing point of view, it's going to be a really difficult sell to people because I mean, you look ridiculous when you wear it and there's no way to get away from that really, like you're always going to look ridiculous while wearing virtual reality. But the whole point is it's what you're seeing, not what other people are seeing. But when you're selling the product, you're trying to sell something that,
Yeah, you can't sell the VR experience. But I will say that the drug industry is very popular, and you can't also, there's no marketing on drugs. You're just like, man, it's awesome. You take this LSD, and you're gonna see purple goblins with underwear on their head. And
I've never
everyone's
seen an LSD ad on the front of Time magazine.
I'm just saying, anything, recreational or whatever that's like, I think it's going to be a lot of word of mouth and hype and killer app experiences. You're right, though. There's nothing in a two-dimensional image that's going to communicate the incredibleness of VR. But
Speaking of incredibleness, Beau, this is the second weekend and I think second week. I think we need a bumper for this segment of Beau's Windows 10 experience. So you installed Windows 10, early adopter. Last week you didn't have too much to report. You said it seemed to be working fine. Anything new? Any new sort of
Wait,
doodads,
I I've
doohickeys?
got a bumper for the Windows 10 section.
Lame.
There's your
That's
bumper, everyone.
oh really?
Well, no. I just used something that was nearby. Yeah, same old, same old. I'm having the same audio issues. I haven't checked for updates yet, so that might be my bad. But my webcam won't Skype without effing up everybody's webcams somehow. I don't understand it. Could be Skype. I don't know.
But it's little bugs. What about new features, Bo?
I
Give me some
haven't no new
features.
features. Like the great thing about Windows 10, to be perfectly honest, is I just installed it and it's like whatevs. like as far as like as a gamer, like all my games work fine, all of my programs work fine. I didn't have to reinstall any single drivers or anything except for that audio issue I may have to look into. It has been seamless. So a week's gone by and it's like, and like the start menu's back and it looks more high graphics. Big whoop, you know.
Yeah, all right.
It's still all
Okay.
the same stuff. So I'm
Okay,
assuming
so
the background programming is better, but you know, I'm sure.
question again, I'm going to ask you this every week. Is this the week for me to get Windows 10 or not?
I think it's a limited time. So
No, but I mean, like, it's a limited time, but I can still wait a little bit longer, right?
yeah, I wouldn't rush out and get it. I don't,
I'm pretty happy with my Windows 7, so, you know.
but there's a limited time where you can get it for free, and at a certain point you have to pay. I think it's a limited time. My information's not 100%. So if you have some spare time, you're looking at doing it. Took an hour or two.
And if you're coming to us for information, you got problems.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
All right, so let's move on right to the Gamescom news. If only we had some sort of bumper for this section, Bo.
I just made one 2 months ago. 3 months ago.
readme.txt.
All right. Welcome to
Readme.txt. Yes, the news section, if you will. And we got a lot of it from Gamescom. So do you want to start, like, you're more of the Blizzard god around here. Do you want to start with the Blizzard news or do you want to start with the console news? What do you want to do?
Let's start with the Blizzard news.
Sweet.
Yeah, let's do it. So the big news is that we are getting World of Warcraft players a new expansion called World of Warcraft Legion. And basically, there were signs that it was coming back in the Warlords of Draenor storyline, but it's the return of everyone's favorite Burning Crusade style content. So there was a teaser trailer, not the full trailer. We're getting another one. There was a teaser trailer which featured Illidan. And Illidan is one of the most badass Warcraft characters of all time. He's blind. He's been in prison for 10,000 years. He's angry. He's got the coolest looking weapons, the Warglaives of Azeroth. So we know he's coming back. There's going to be Demon Hunter as a new class, and there seems to be some sweet looking zones. So if you're into Warcraft, lots of cool new story coming up. And what's notable about this one is it's usually been 2 years plus for each expansion to arrive. This one's coming. It seems like it's going to be about a year. This is much sooner than they've ever done before. And it's quashing a lot of the disdain people had. They were disappointed in some of the patch content that came out with the last one. So,
But is it like I read recently that there was a huge drop off in World of Warcraft subscribers, like one of their biggest drop offs of all time? And do you
Yes.
think that led them to fast track this out the door? Or
no, they've been talking about this being their intention for a long time, and I think after 10 years of having the game, that the player base has expectations about when things arrive, what they're getting, and I think they felt like they got less in Warlords of Draenor. That the initial game was amazing, but wasn't enough to keep them coming back, keep them raiding. It's just all grindy stuff, you know. And so this is part of their long-term plan. The Warcraft movie's coming out in 2016. Without a doubt, this is going to dovetail with the Warcraft film. So this all looks planned and prepared, and they've been saying that for a few years now.
just before moving on, just a quick question from someone who doesn't play WoW. Like WoW's been around since 2004 at this point. Like, do any of these expansions overhaul the graphics at all or
Yeah.
update them?
Oh yeah, last expansion, all the primary heroes got a huge graphical update. They look way better than they did back in the day. The game still looks dated, but yeah, they up the ante every time. Usually there are adjustments to the graphics with every expansion of late. There doesn't seem to be any announced for, the next one.
Sweet. All right. Yeah. Any other Blizzard news?
Yep. So this is old news, but if you are a Hearthstone player, the Grand Tournament's coming. Croft and you and I haven't talked about it. The new cards look amazing, so I'll be spending my time in Hearthstone yet again. And so they revealed a bunch of cards, and they had a lot of illuminaries from the Hearthstone community hosting. Frodan hosted their live streams, and Kriparian, who's from Toronto. Well, he's from Toronto. He's a big Hearthstone guy. He was on there. It's nice to see him on the Blizzard streams. And we also got, and this is the most exciting to me, some new heroes for Heroes of the Storm. Specifically, we got the Monk from Diablo. We got Rexar and Misha from Warcraft, which is going to be an orc hunter with a pet. And you've played these guys, Crofton and Hearthstone. They're coming to Heroes.
Oh, yeah.
But he gets a pet, so he's actually two guys. Like, it's his pet and him running around. It looks pretty incredible. We got Artanis, a Protoss commander of sorts from StarCraft 1 and 2. The first StarCraft warrior. Everyone's very excited to see what that looks like. And we're getting the medic from StarCraft, which is exciting because the medic gets the medevac, which allows you to load up your teammates into a plane and transport them to another part of the map and drop them off for tactical strikes. So it seems haven't been more excited about hero stuff since those announcements. And
I think they're starting to use the term hero pretty liberally at this point. Like StarCraft 2 medic. Well, I'm sorry. Last time I checked, that guy was a grunt that gets killed 100 times.
Well, they make them individuals. We have a tank, the siege tanks. We have one right now in Heroes, and her name is Sergeant Hammer. And she's a gruff, short little woman who's very strong in spirit and drives a tank. And
sweet, I guess. It's like I knew this was going to happen at one point. There's a lot of heroes in Blizzard lore, but they're going to run out at one point and start, making those little wiener dudes become heroes.
I don't know. I think they did that initially to make the wiener dudes in StarCraft because they're the real heroes of StarCraft, right? Not the characters as much.
I don't know. Jim Raynor is when I think hero, I think guy like Jim Raynor. I don't think StarCraft 2 medic. That's all I'm saying.
I guess so. Who knows? There's all kinds of weird stuff in that game. They made the Lost Vikings a hero, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they're really annoying, but fun, but annoying. All right. That's it for Blizzard. I mean, we just want to cover the broad strokes. I know if you're into Blizzard stuff, you could talk about this for an entire show, maybe 10 entire shows. But a lot of great stuff coming out of Gamescom. Unfortunately, I meant to, and I didn't tune in too much to the rest. So Crofton's put together some other information to recap from BlizzCon, from Gamescom. I mean,
what was interesting about Gamescom is that they had Microsoft had a press conference, and it really feels like E3 just happened. So the fact that they had enough news to anchor a press conference with games that we have not seen or have not were not shown at E3 was impressive to me anyway. And they had a bunch of stuff. So the first thing is the creators of Max Payne and Alan Wake, Remedy. And these are all a lot of these companies that showed at Gamescom are European companies, right? So Remedy showed off their next big game. And Beau, honestly, like I could blah, blah, blah you about it and it won't sound as good as it looks. It's called Quantum Break. And it's sort of like a time manipulation third-person action game. So, like, imagine a game a la Uncharted, Gears of War. You can sort of a lot of take cover shooting, climbing over things, that sort of stuff, but also crazy amounts of time control mechanics. Yeah. And somehow it's like all the main characters are modeled after actors. Like they're not big actors. The guy who played Iceman in the X-Men movies is the main guy, for instance.
You hear that, Iceman? You're not big.
Yeah, Sean Ashmore. I'm sorry, Sean. Maybe this will be your big break, buddy. But
sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, no, definitely. You know what was funny too? Just as an aside, Remedy's main creative guy is this guy Sam Lake, and Sam Lake introduced Sean Ashmore on stage. and was talking about Quantum Break in this. But what I could not get over was the fact that the very first Max Payne game, like they scanned Sam Lake's face for Max Payne's character before changing him in subsequent sequels. So like he looks like exactly like that Max Payne with the kind of constipation face. And I could not get over that the whole time. I'm like, God, it's Max Payne, and he sounds extremely European. But anyway, the game looks good, but it's in where my alarm bells are going off is it's integrating with a television show. And I'm not sure if the TV show is going to just be in the game, and I know a lot of games like Alan Wake and Max Payne have had like in-game sort of TV shows that you could watch, but it looks like it's going to be with real actors and all that, and it's going to intertwine with the gameplay, and I don't know. Like, it looks innovative, but I'm not sure. Like, you'll have to go watch some of the clips, but tell me what you think.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it's really not. For me, it's
to try and save some time for you a bit. I am just have it on mute. I'm just watching a quick 1 minute thing. It's almost done. I see two actors in this from The Wire, like the world's favoriteest, bestest TV show for elite MFs, like. Ever. I'm so in because of the two guys I know from The Wire.
I knew you were going to say. I purposely did not mention the two C-list actors from The Wire because I knew
C-list. Everyone is A-list on The Wire.
I knew
you
were
take that back.
Going to be biased.
Maybe the Bunk and Omar are like a tier above everyone else, but
all right.
I'm in. Like, that's it. That's all you needed to. That's all you had to say.
The thing is, I'm in due to Remedy. They have a great track record of making narrative-based games. I like that, but when I watch the gameplay of it, it does look a little much like Power Trip. Bro gets superpowers, runs through, and does all sorts of time. Like, I don't know. It looks a little bit like lowest common denominator for Remedy, but they did interesting stuff with Alan Wake. So I'm cool to give them the benefit of the doubt on this. Hopefully it comes to PC because I don't got an Xbox yet, but who knows? Maybe I'll shell out for one. All right, other games. This one, Beau, Scalebound, I had never heard of. It's another bro dude. He's got these big headphones. He rides a dragon, and he can get off the dragon, and he can fight guys with the dragon. They can do combos together. He can get back on, and
I've heard of this.
Yeah, it
looks. Think it was announced at E3.
It looks obnoxious when you look at it. Like, when you look at cutscenes as an adult, I find it looks like it's designed for teens who want to be, cool dude type teens. I sound super square. But
Cool
here's
type teens.
Here's the thing. Again, like how I gave the benefit of the doubt to Quantum Break. This is made by Platinum Games, and Platinum are known for Bayonetta 1 and 2, Vanquish, like these super crazy action games. And I talked about Vanquish before. I made it one of my recommendations. The guy in Vanquish is ridiculous. Like, he's like Solid Snake times 10 manliness, smokes cigarettes in his helmet, and is like, I'm a cool dude or whatever. So I'm able to look past that shit for a game that's really fun to play, and that's what Vanquish was. It was amazingly fun to play. So I'm hoping that this Scalebound game, like, even though the main character looks obnoxious and whatever, I'm hoping that the gameplay is awesome because Platinum has a high pedigree to that in that regard. So.
And did you not say? Did you say it or did I read this? 4-player co-op was going to be in Scalebound.
No, they showed a little clip at the end of the trailer of 4-player co-op. It was a cinematic thing that I saw. Yeah. It was just like a little cutscene where multiple clones of your character and dragon appeared to fight a big boss. It looked like a raid boss, a little bit like Borderlands, sort of. But
you have a giant dragon with you in that game. That's a pretty nice little feature, I'd say.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm tentatively excited.
Looks good.
So
looks like it has a lot of potential to it.
So
reminds me of Final Fantasy 15 a little bit, if I can just say. It has that feel to it, although I'm sure they'll be very different.
Yeah, there was a Final Fantasy 15 trailer. It looked kind of dumb. It was just like an emotionally powerful trailer, but when you don't know any of the characters or any of the context, it didn't really resonate very much with me. It was like an old man with a wicked sword leaning on a card, holding a little baby that's going to grow up, or a little kid that's going to grow up to be the main character or whatever. Anyway, they played epic music, and then it zoomed out, and then you saw these giant monsters or whatever. But and then it just says Final Fantasy 15. I'm still really, if that game's awesome, amazing. I'll love to play it, but I remain not super excited for that one.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I know you like your, which is good, man. You should be. But Halo Wars 2 was announced. I never thought that game was going to get a sequel.
Yeah,
but,
jeez, wow.
yeah, so Halo Wars, for those who don't know, is like an RTS version of Halo on console, in this case, Xbox One.
Yeah.
But I mean, Halo, just put Halo in front of anything and it probably sells a zillion copies, you know? So what you going to do?
I guess so, yeah. And do people like that game? I never checked it out. It felt like, you know, when they take like, oh, everyone likes Mario. Well, let's make Mario Kart. Let's make Mario Party. And let's make Mario RPG. Those are all good Mario games, don't get me wrong. But it's like, let's make Mario Spin the Bottle, the one that nobody buys that was a bad idea. And I always had that prejudice on Halo Wars where it's like, man, people like Halo. Maybe they like an RTS. Although my understanding is Halo started as an RTS before it became a first-person shooter in the Bungie dock.
It totally makes sense for it to be like Halo Wars is like on paper, it makes tons of sense. Do you remember we'd be playing PlanetSide 1 and I would often say when we were playing PlanetSide, I'm like, this is like it's like you're playing an RTS except you're just one dude on the ground.
Yeah.
Well, Halo Wars, I felt they could always make a PlanetSide RTS, and Halo is in the same vein. There's tons of different vehicle units, tons of different races, and this sort of thing. I don't think it's as deep or as complex as something like StarCraft, but I think that they found a way to have a control scheme that worked well for consoles with the first Halo Wars. I know some people who played it a lot, and obviously they have the sales figures to say that it's worth a second go round. But unlike some of those ridiculous Mario ones, this, like, I'll give them credit. They haven't milked Halo that much outside of the main.
There's no
games.
Halo Kart art yet.
Yeah, I know. There's no, like, yeah, Master Chief Motion Theater.
Is there a Halo RPG? No, I'm thinking of the Doom RPG. Like, there have been some weird RPG things, but not Halo. So
yeah, they've kept it pretty tight so far.
All right.
So the last Microsoft news was a Crackdown 3 demo, and it just showed destructive environments where like you could destroy pretty much each building and stuff. Looked cool. Like, I mean, it looked cool, but Crackdown is one of those games that I missed because it was sold on the back of the Halo 3 demo in the time. Like beta rather. You buy Crackdown, you get entry to the Halo 3 beta, and I didn't really care about getting into the Halo 3 beta. I don't even think my console was connected at the time. And so I just, I just missed Crackdown. But a lot of people felt that Crackdown was really fun. Crackdown 2 was super underwhelming. I think it was a copy and paste slap job. And but the third one is I guess supposed to be pretty cool looking. It's just I think it's going to be a miss for me unless everybody says it's amazing, just because I never played the first two. So
yeah, Crackdown, I heard a lot of good things about that first one. I think there are a lot of fans of it, but I also missed it. So I like the idea of 100% destructible environments.
That's cool.
100%.
I do feel though that you've got games like Just Cause that are known for that, and Just Cause 3 is coming out, and I feel like Crackdown is getting into that arena, but now has to sell itself on the back of its own name. And I think Crackdown 1 is so beloved because nobody thought it was going to be any good. They were buying the game literally to get a demo, and then it's like, oh, this game is not that bad. And so it's like when you get something for free or something that you, I don't know, didn't think you were going to get or be as good as it is, you have fonder memories of it. I'd be interested to know somebody who played Crackdown, if they went back and played Crackdown 1, or if I go and play Crackdown 1 for the first time now, how dated is it going to be, or how shitty, or is it going to still hold up, So
All good and deep questions related to the Crackdown franchise.
Deep questions for Crackdown.
You listen, I'm like 6 questions. Like, what does this mean for my life? How am I going to go on knowing a Crackdown 3 is good or bad?
I just think for me, all the Microsoft announcements are in this sort of spot of like, I don't have an Xbox One. I have a PlayStation 4, but I'm not opposed to necessarily getting an Xbox One in the future. So every time they announce new games and stuff, I think, is this
The killer
it?
app.
Is this enough for me to shell out the cash for the Xbox One? And so far, I'm not there yet. So
Do
we'll
they
see.
have a killer app that you aren't responding to? Is it the Halo? Is there a Halo? What's the killer
Yeah, Halo
app right
5
now?
is coming out this year, and that will be sort of their killer game essentially for this year. And of course, I haven't even played Halo 4. They had the Master Chief Collection last year. I'm a little haloed out, so for me, that's really not a big selling point.
Yeah.
But I know for some people, it definitely is.
All right. But you have something you are looking forward to.
Yeah,
from
this
Gamescom.
is outside of the Microsoft press conference. Okay, so a couple episodes back, I made my recommendation of the show Mafia 2.
Of the game.
I said, yeah, the game. I said it's an underrated game. People should play it. It still holds up. A lot of fun. Blah 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 blah. Mafia 2. Go play it. If you didn't listen to that episode, go play it now. Actually, finish listening to the show, then go play it. Maybe play it in another window while you listen to the show. No, don't do that. It's very story heavy. So you should just play it, but really enjoy it because it's good. So anyway, they announced Mafia 3, which had been long in gestation. Like they'd been talking about Mafia 3 or hinting at it for a long time. And it's set in New Orleans, has a bit of a different tact. It's instead of being a part of sort of the Sicilian Italian mob, as you were in the first 2 Mafia games, now you're sort of like it's New Orleans style. So while there are Italian mobsters in it, including the protagonist from Mafia 2, you are playing sort of like this half black, half white guy who went to the Vietnam War, came back with his band of brothers and formed essentially a mafia family. One thing led to another. Your whole family got essentially gunned down by the Italian mob, and you're seeking revenge and to build your own empire, sort of deal. So they aired a soundtrack with super wicked music. Beau, did you watch this?
No. I'm right when the show's done. I'm going to check it out.
Okay, yeah, you got to check. The trailer is super awesome. It's got amazing 60s music. Like, you got some, I think CCR was Rolling Stones. Anyway, they had a lot of awesome music, and it's all contextualized with the main character driving this guy in his trunk to an execution, and meanwhile it's flashing back to all these things, setting up his motivation and his character. Now, it looks awesome, and I love the Mafia franchise, so I am for sure in. That said, a couple of alarm bells. Again, the main character is suffering from the Gravelthroat that you see in a lot of these guys. Like,
for this.
I'm super wicked and I'm cool and awesome. You can tell by my voice, and that really, and he's super handsome, obviously.
It's a trope, It's a trope.
I know. I just feel that Mafia is trying to push these ideas like racial identity. Like it's a time, the Vietnam War, PTSD, like there's all these things that are there, and then you still got like, Gravelthroat McHotness, and I just.
I think I'm gonna change my name to that. By the way, Gravelthroat McHotness is
trademark. Gravelthroat McHotness.
Going to the naming office today to get my name changed. What would you like to change it to, sir? Gravelthroat McHotness.
Oh, I'm sorry. That is already taken by that hot man over there. Hello, son. But I just feel like Mafia 3 is going to be awesome. And the trailer got me excited, but I pick everything apart now. It's part of being an adult and being like, okay, this is a little bit tropey or whatever. And but Mafia 1 and 2, one thing I loved about the Mafia games, and this is a little bit spoilery, but in Mafia 1, the character you play has like a cameo in Mafia 2, And they even sort of explain some of the events of the epilogue in Mafia 1 and Mafia 2, because the epilogue of Mafia 1 happens sort of in the future, like 20 years in the future, whatever, which takes place during Mafia 2. So you play the epilogue of Mafia 1 in Mafia 2.
Oh.
And then, yeah, I know it's pretty cool how it's done. And then in this game, you're in Mafia 3, you're going to assemble like 4 generals to help you run your family or whatever. And one of them is the protagonist of Mafia 2. So the guy you were playing in Mafia 2. So I like how they do that. Like it's its own self-contained story, but there's like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink to.
We're still in the same gangster universe.
Yeah, exactly. So I like that. I do.
The DGU, the Disney Gangster Universe.
Pardon?
The DGU, the Disney Gangster.
Disney. Everything's its own universe now, Beau. The Mafia universe.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, you guys, you and also our friend outside of the show on the Good, Bad, or Bullshit podcast, Mike, have both enjoyed Mafia games. And
actually, Mike did not enjoy Mafia.
Oh. I saw him playing the first one. I thought he liked it. I
lent it to him because I really loved Mafia 1, and he couldn't get into it because, in his words, the cars go too slow.
Well, I think that's a legit complaint.
Because Mafia 1 takes place like in the 30s.
Supposed to go fast, especially for Gravelthroat McHotness. Like,
yeah, now
I'm Gravelthroat McHotness. Why is this car so slow?
Yeah, well, that was back in the day before Gravelthroat McHotness. They didn't have the technology to render the hotness back then.
Yeah, just a gravel. All right.
But yeah, so Mafia 3 was my most exciting thing about Gamescom this year. The announcement, the trailer, I saw some of the gameplay footage. Like, it's not revolutionary or anything, but the key to me for Mafia is always atmosphere. They nail atmosphere. And there's been a lot of talk about, oh, Mafia 2, Mafia 1, there's these open worlds, but there's not a lot to do. That's based on a false assumption that you're supposed to be given all these like collectathons or dumb sort of quests to do to fill in this open world. They literally build an open world just for the sake of atmosphere. And I find like in Mafia 2, like during the Christmas level and all this, it's just so well done. You really feel like you're in that time period. And I find it's really rich. So anyway, anyone who's not played the Mafia games, I don't know, 1 probably doesn't hold up, but 2 is definitely a great
2
playthrough.
Isn't that old. I think you could buy it now and have a good time.
Yeah, sir, you could. All right, I've talked a lot. Beau, did you have anything else you wanted to add about Gamescom?
No, like I said, I missed a lot of the stuff, so I still have to do some catching up. If anything jumps out, I'll bring it to next week's show, but I think they talked a lot about games that were already sort of announced. Like, we know there's a new Tomb Raider, we know there's a Mad Max game coming, and in Syndicate there might be some new stuff. Just Cause 3 we know about, things like that. But
yeah, they did deeper like sort of gameplay dives into a lot of those, but I mean, a lot of them, like I've played a lot of Assassin's Creed, I played the last Tomb Raider, Just Cause, like these are all games that I have played before and I'm not tremendously excited about. That doesn't mean that when they come out, they're not going to capture my enthusiasm. But at this time, like I really almost want to know as little as possible about those games and be surprised when they do come out rather than like immerse myself in all the minutia of the next Assassin's Creed, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. One last little thing before we move on. If you do have Battle.net installed on your PC, by the way, you'll notice, if you haven't logged in, if you do, you'll notice there's a little button called Overwatch. There isn't a play button yet, though, but something's coming. So that's news, too. So I just thought I'd jam it in there.
It's like a beta?
I think it's going to be open beta, yeah, for sure. But they haven't said anything. It's just showed up, and it's like, well, there it is. Teasing you. All right.
I'll give that. You know what? I'll give that one a try. I feel like it's going to be more of my jam than a lot of the other Blizzard games that are. A lot of Blizzard games for me are hotkey based. Like you're just running around waiting for hotkeys to recharge, like a Diablo, World of Warcraft, maybe Heroes. I've never played Heroes, but like so for this game, because it's a first person and all that, the Overwatch, it feels like it might be more my jam.
You love all the unintended racism in Overwatch too.
Like, is there a bunch?
They announced a new character called Lucio. He's the black guy, and he's got neon dreadlocks, and he's all about killing people to the beat. Like he's got headphones and he's on rollerblades and his gun is a beat gun. Like he's got and there's like the Japanese guy Hanzo, and he has a sword, and you've got your Clint Eastwood McGraw, I think McGree. I don't know.
That's the guy I'll play.
Yeah. He's got actually the Red Dead Redemption thing where he just shoots all of his bullets out. You'd like
Go ahead, make my day.
And when he uses his ultimate, a tumbleweed falls by.
But I do like all that, because I was playing a bit of StarCraft 2, and there is a character on there, a black Rastafarian dude who comes on your ship, and he's a total racial stereotype.
Like Tosh.
Tosh, yeah.
Or Toshly, yeah. I know you're talking about. And
Blizzard needs some sensitivity training. Okay.
All right, let's move on to the games per minute.
You're always talking about making kids' minds like vegetables. Talk about them out on the street smoking pot.
This is Games Per Minute.
How do you feel about cutting his head off?
What is Games Per Minute, Beau?
Games Per Minute is where we tell you about the games we've been playing since we last recorded, which was 7 days ago last week. And I'm. Do you want to start, or do I want to start?
We both said that we were going to try and keep it somewhat short and sweet this week, just because we want to get to our dialogue tree topic, and also we covered a lot of news ground this week because of Gamescom. So I'll start real quick. I've just been playing. I played a lot of games last week. I talked a lot about them, and it's one of those things where you're multitasking. One of them is going to rise to the top at one point. For me, that was Ori and the Blind Forest, which you guys recall last week when I was talking about this game. I kind of said, I don't see really what all the hype's about. It's pretty good, but maybe like a 7, 8 out of 10. Having spent like the week with it, and really like I'm near the end of the game at this point, I have to like walk it back and say, yes, it is a really, really good game. There's a couple of new mechanics that are innovative. And while I still have issue with the story is not particularly great and that sort of thing, the art is amazing. The music is amazing. Each new location is just a delight. And the gameplay is, and I use this term all the time, thumb candy, and it doesn't start off necessarily that way because you have no powers, but as you gain powers, it definitely becomes more and more fun. I feel like the story, and I mentioned the opening sequence last week, and a lot of people when they talk about Ori, they talk about this opening sequence. I feel like it almost does a disservice to the game because it kind of makes you think that it's something that it's not, and it sets a tone that the rest of the game doesn't necessarily follow. But really, it's a solid Metroidvania where you get some pretty new and unique powers with a gorgeous art style that is just fun to play. So I'll be done it this time next week, I'm sure, but it's a really good game.
Well, it's on my Steam wish list. It's one I'm looking forward to playing at some point because of all that you said about
well,
it.
now last week I just felt bad because I kind of tempered my thoughts.
You did.
And now that I'm in it a little more, I realize it's better than what I thought.
It's funny because I edited your comments in my brain last week about it to say like, oh, he's criticizing it, but overall I know Crofton's enjoying this game. Like it came across that it was a very positive experience. So
sweet. It is for sure.
Yeah, and you're still playing Witcher? You're not getting too distracted with Ori? You have to finish Witcher before you can play anything else?
See, I put those artificial limits on myself, but no, I'm on another Witcher break. I had to unplug the PlayStation 4 to go on this trip or whatever, and I'd never plugged it back when I got home because I was too lazy. Wow. I didn't get back into The Witcher. I'm definitely committed to finishing it, and once I'm done Ori, I'll go back to The Witcher. But I felt like I needed this break. Like I had put a lot of time in The Witcher. And the last thing I'll just say about The Witcher real quick is that they're releasing that free DLC. If you remember, I did that unboxing where I showed that they had a new DLC thing every week, and the last one is going to add a new game plus mode to the game. And I know that that's just going to effing kill me because like when I'm finished, I'll be really tempted to restart.
Is there any reason to do a new game plus?
The reason is there's a couple of things. The number one is the development of your character. You can get nowhere near to maxing out all his skills and powers in a first playthrough, even with hundreds and hundreds of hours. Like you just can't get enough points to do it. So I mean that's the incentive. The real big incentive is to get that. But there's also a lot of like decisions in The Witcher, like decisions that have actual ramifications, more so than even games like Telltale games. And so I am curious to see how a lot of those decisions play out if you go the other direction, right? So yeah. Anyway, that's I'm not saying I'll play it again right away, but it's nice to know that it's there so that like when I'm having a dry game period, I could be like, oh, you know what? I'm just gonna go instead of starting a new Witcher game, I'll do New Game Plus, and I'll play it at the hardest difficulty, and I'll with my super sexy gravel voiced McHottie Witcher.
Yeah, yeah, he is a gravel voiced. And speaking of gravel voiced characters, good on them for getting the New Game Plus out so quickly. The Deus Ex Human Revolution Director's Cut Edition has a New Game Plus, but by the time I got there, I'd already played the game like 3 times. Like, I was just like, oh, New Game Plus. No. I just can't. I can't play it for maybe someday in the future, but honestly, I'd probably want to play it from scratch, not play it. Like, I'm probably going to play Deus Ex before the launch of the next one to, just re-experience the story again. But I don't think I'd do New Game Plus because, it's too easy, right?
Yeah.
All those powers trivializes everything. It's kind of like, eh. But, yeah, all right. So I have been playing, drumroll please.
Don't be Blizzard, don't be Blizzard, don't be
Heroes
Blizzard.
of the Storm!
Damn it.
I'm getting rewarded a lot by playing it. I am organizing the tournament, and the tournament group stage came to an end, and playoffs are coming up this weekend. It's going to be brutal because all the teams that are remaining are formidable. So, I just spend a lot of time playing it because it's like my game. Like, I think maybe at a certain point you start becoming associated with the game and you feel rewarded by it. You end up playing it more. But the good news is that I've been playing ranked mode instead of quick match, and I've played a ton of quick match games, and I'm up to rank 13. I'm on the road to rank 1, man. Like, it's pretty crazy. Like, there's 50 ranks. The first 10 are freebies. Like, you can just play and you'll never lose rank, like Hearthstone. But man, the competition's getting tough. And I've had some 8 or 9 game win streaks, and I'm just coasting my way up the ladder. So I've got this sort of new mission to hit rank 1, just because I'm the Heroes of the Storm guy. I should be rank 1.
You know what? I feel like that's true, actually. I feel like that you, prominent podcasting sensation Scott Johnson recruited you to his team based on your Heroes of the Storm expertise. I feel like if Beau can't make rank 1, then nobody can make rank 1.
Well, there's lots of people that make rank 1 though. Well, not lots, but you see them on Twitch, all the show off pro gamers.
Is it like doesn't Hearthstone you get to rank 1 and then there's like a legendary thing or something past rank 1?
Yeah, then you're on a leaderboard, right? So it's for elo basically. If you win a game against someone with higher or lower elo, you get more points and you get shifted around.
Do you have that
to rank
in
1.
Heroes?
It's Grandmasters coming for Heroes, and so part of the reason is I want to be ready for Grandmasters because I think that I'm going to have a presence on that Grandmasters board. I'm like, you have to put in the time for it. And granted, I have other things I have to prioritize right now. But it's funny when you like are good at a game but don't realize it, and then you play with other people. And everyone's like, "Hey, you're pretty good." Like, "Oh, I want to be on my team." "Hey, you're really good." And it's like
that never happens to me.
It's never happened to me either, and I'm getting that. And it's not to say I have a big head about it. Like, there are plenty. I got schooled today by Avala. Let me tell you, I at least killed her 6 or 7 times, but we lost the game in the long run. There are people that are way better than me for certain, but it's a team game, and there's room for people of varying skill who, if the other team's better than you, but you play better as a team, you'll come out on top in that game. And I think that's what people like about it. Generally, teamwork sort of triumphs over, oh, I'm going to carry everybody because I'm, Korean. Sorry.
Whoa, where did that come from?
Well, everyone knows Koreans are the best MOBA players in the world, right? They dominate League of Legends, the world tournaments anyways.
I'm about to say something nerdy that I shouldn't even know, but I saw it on the news the other day that the Dota 2, the international, the grand prize was actually won by an American team for the first time ever.
Yeah, congratulations. I wasn't following that. I didn't follow the international. I'm pleased to hear that. That's always the drama. In wrestling there's always the storyline and the drama.
Yeah.
In MOBAs it's always like, will the Americans do it? Or will it be the Europeans? Oh, the Koreans are so good. They train every day. And the Chinese, they're not far behind them. Yeah, so it's good to hear, that the Americans took one.
If I was the American
North
team,
Americans.
I would have ensured that my entrance music was Hulk Hogan's Real American. I'm a real
It's North Americans.
American.
It includes Canada and I think might even include Mexico. So it's not just Americans. It's Canadian. There might have been a Canadian team for all I know, because it's North American.
Fight for the right of every man.
For the record, Crofton was just waiting for me to shut up so I could continue. All right, well, that's all I have to say about Heroes. I play it a lot. It's super fun, and I'm decent. All right. With that out of the way, let us move on to our dialogue tree. Now there's one fine dialogue tree. Yep. It's the dialogue tree, where we take a topic prescient in the minds of gamers and discuss it in a meaningful, smart person's way. Man,
You couldn't have made that sound any more dumb.
I started off with the word prescient, which is a good smart person word, and then hit a
Just
wall
fell apart.
of stupidity. But today, our topic is we're going to discuss the phenomenon known to gamers as live streaming.
Live streaming, and ironically, or maybe not ironically, or maybe I don't even know what the word ironically means anymore, we are live streaming right now.
We are indeed. This is a live stream. Notably, this is a talk show. We've got some webcams, we're chatting, it's a live stream. But I think what we want to talk about with respect to live streaming is that, the culture of watching other people play games for your own entertainment, having it on, this has definitely affected gaming in general and the way certain companies are certain companies market their goods. Blizzard, for example, all the information I received about Gamescom was on the Blizzard Twitch stream, which was just live streamed. It wasn't on a TV station. It wasn't in some article somewhere that I read or some podcast even. It was on a live stream, marketing all about their game. And then they had people playing games, for fun, so we could see what the games were. So is this good for, it's good for gaming, but is this really a thing that we want to get people into, which is watching other people play video games?
So let's just, before we even go into the conversation, let's two questions to both of us. I'll start. Do you watch live streams of gaming? And two, do you do just plays or your own sort of live streams in gaming? I'll answer first. So, do I watch them? No. Do I do them? Also no.
All right.
Beau?
Do I watch live streams? Yes.
Yes.
I want to get into what that word "watch" means in a second. And the second one is, do I do them? I've tried them. I've done some live streaming, yeah, but not a whole lot. I did meet one good friend through a live stream. We were playing some Diablo, and we played a lot of Diablo together. But Corey, if you're listening, hi.
Hi, Corey.
We haven't spoken in a while, but who knows? Maybe he checks out the show.
Only if he has good taste.
Only if he has good taste. But no, I mainly just watch. Although I'd like to stream more. I feel like it's fun. It's just kind of hard to get into because here's the deal with streaming. One is interactivity. The thing that makes it different from television is that the people on the other end, can interact with you. So you can do custom games and invite some viewers in, like subscribers, or people will just give you advice. Like if you could kill the opponent in Hearthstone, but you don't see it, and everyone in chat rooms going legal, legal, you have legal, then you know you have lethal, and so you can, you know, it might make you aware. So it's nice to have a bunch of people crowdsourced over your shoulder playing the game with you. But the main way that I watch live stream is usually I'm doing something else. For me, I might be working on post-production on the show. I might be emailing, might be job hunting. I might be playing my own game. And I've got a stream up on the other monitor. And it's kind of fun to check out what people are doing in Hearthstone or games that I'm interested in. So I tend not to watch intently to a lot of the stuff I'm doing. And this is not just live streaming, this is also shows. And I feel like this is better than saying putting on Scrubs and watching Scrubs on the second screen, because I'd like to actually watch Scrubs, so I don't want to miss things that are happening. So live streaming content has a nice way of being entertaining in that way. Yeah, but by the same token, I'm now at a point where, like, I feel weird when I'm not watching a live stream, and I'm a bit concerned about that.
Yeah, no kidding. See, what I would say about live streams, a lot of it I've written in the very first edition of my blog that I did, the question mark, and I'm due for another one soon, but you can go on our website and read that. It was about the what I see as the first gaming generation gap, and that being that you know, we're the first generation that's grown up with games, really, like, I mean, ubiquitously. I'm talking about the adults who are now gamers, as opposed to, yes, I recognize there was like super old Atari games or arcade games. My dad could potentially have played a bunch of games, but more likely than not, people in their mid 30s, early 40s, that sort of thing, are the first gaming generation with kids and such. And so for me, live streaming is one of those things that I don't really understand. It has little to no appeal for me personally. I think that has a lot to do, the more I think about it, with the type of games that I like to play. So for instance, you saw in this episode, Beau focused a lot on the Blizzard games, and I focus a lot on maybe console or single player experiences, because honestly, that's what I'm looking for in my free time. I'm looking for a single player game that I can get immersed in, like The Witcher. However, every once in a while, I want a good multiplayer game too. I like playing like couch co-op with my real life friends, or I like, you know, Beau and I play Borderlands 2 together over the internet and that sort of thing. But I don't feel the need to like show it to a bunch of people, strangers that I don't know, while I'm playing it, even though obviously my color commentary would be super hilarious and people would really like me, and maybe I would make millions of dollars like PewDiePie or whatever his name is. It's possible, probably likely actually, but it just doesn't really fit with the way that I like to play games. That doesn't mean that it's not a valid way of doing it. But yeah. What is it that, like, when you have done them in the past, like I know I've seen you do the Hearthstone one where your face is kind of in the bottom or whatever, and then you've got the Hearthstone border. Like, what is it that's fun about actually doing them, not so much observing them, like doing them?
I think, like, I don't know, and I think that's a question I was looking at answering, because live streaming is, in theory, everybody could do it. Like, everyone, you have a webcam, you play games on your computer, you can live stream. There's a free program, you create a free account on Twitch, you're a live streamer. So
there's a button on my PlayStation controller called Share. I just hit it and I can start live streaming instantly.
Yeah. But the thing is, if you look at the majority of streams by quantity on Twitch, a lot of them have the amount of viewers like we have, 0 to like 5 or 0 to 10. Like,
what? Oh, Beau, we have
we have thousands. We're supposed to lie. We have to lie to the audio listeners, Twitch people, so that they think we're more popular than we are. No, but this, you know, the thing is, then there are really popular ones, and I think that I think if you're getting into doing this, what I observe from a lot of the people that do it is that they like the interaction. You know, I think it gives them a face. sort of in the larger gaming community. So when they achieve success, when they achieve meaningful relationships with like people in the chat room, like they're getting something out of making people's day by watching them, then I think that's the reward. Because I know if, you know, lots of people started logging into my chat, I'd want to interact with it and, you know, hang out with people in the chat room. But like the times that I've streamed, let's face it, everyone's looking at me going like, who's this bearded fool? And they check in and they go away. That being said, I'd like to give it another earnest shot. I hear one of the key things, and it's like what we do with podcasting, is just consistency. So my big thing is like, oh, I'd like to do it, but then you have to block off time to do it. And I find you can only really play certain games to interact meaningfully with the chat room. It's hard, you know, if you're playing like Heroes, I can't, which is a game I tried to stream for about a week or so.
Because you're just too busy playing the game, right?
You have to concentrate on that game. Like there's,
I think most games you kind of do. Like
Hearthstone,
I understand
you
that
don't.
But that Hearthstone is like using the word video game to describe Hearthstone is already very generous. It's essentially a card game that's online or whatever. So I mean, yeah, if I'm playing any card game, obviously it's not super fast. Whereas most video games, like I think of like super fast shooters like Unreal Tournament, where it's just like bounce, bounce, bounce. You're like shoot, 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 shoot. I could not possibly imagine like interacting with people on the sideline. Oh, do you think I should make this headshot? Oh, good call. Oh, everybody's calling for the headshot. I better make it. You know, it's just ridiculous. There's only certain types of games that are going to fit that sort of back and forth. That said, there's tons of all games are being like live streamed and whatever, and maybe there's a limited interaction with the player because the player's involved in the game. Maybe they're just chatting or doing color commentary while they play. And honestly, I like being the center of attention sometimes. I could see how like depending on your life situation, if you don't know a bunch of people, like this provides like a virtual number. It says at the bottom of my Twitch channel, I got X amount of people who are watching me, and you know, they're all calling me fat and ugly, and some of them are participating in discussing the game. Like I could see how that would be something that would be involving to a certain extent. I just don't. As now a father of a kid who at one point was going to grow up playing video games, I know that she's at one point she's going to be like, "Daddy, I want to live stream my Minecraft game." And I'll be like, no fucking way, or whatever. Like, you are not going
Daddy,
into that cesspit of like scum and villainy to stream.
Oh my god, it's a grill.
Yeah, are you a girl in RL? You know, like
the term is grill now.
Oh, sorry,
because they misspell girl into grill, and so it's grills.
I'm so lame.
And it's show us your beepity boo grill. Like, it's horrible. Like, and that's the one thing I'll say about it's the internet in general. This isn't specific to live streaming.
I think it's amped up for the gamer community, and like you see these things on Gamergate and how women are treated and stuff like that. Like, I mean,
it is worse on a live stream. So if you go, there's a popular live streamer girl. She's very pretty. She's from Saskatchewan. She lives in Canada. Her name is Alinity, and if you go to her Twitch chat and check out what people say to her, people drop in there all the time sexually harassing her, and she's got a community of moderators that I'm sure edited out at some point, and those people, you know, there's people ready to pounce, but it's rampant and constant. It's disgusting, you know, and that's the internet in general. Live streaming tends to do this, and I don't think we should just say, well, women shouldn't stream because there's asshole dudes out there. But it certainly leaves you kind of disgusted. Like, it leaves me disgusted.
Well, it's the whole, you're right. It's the whole anonymity of the internet times a zillion, right? Like, it's a bunch of people who are in a mob who are faceless. Their only name is like their username, and they can just go crazy with it, right? And often, there probably a lot of them are young teens to, you know, early 20-something douchebags. Like, I mean, it's not everybody, and that's the thing. It's like there's the medium and there's the message here, and that's the thing with live streaming. I do feel like, pardon?
Marshall McLuhan.
Yes.
That famous Canadian who said the medium is a message. Sorry for the interruption. I just had to call it out right there. Continue.
The thing is that just because there's a bunch of douchebags doing douchebag things in live streams doesn't mean that live streaming shouldn't happen. And it's one of those things where like you made the example of like, did you ever play video games with people watching? And I definitely did. Like I played with my brother, and he would watch me, and I honestly like it was a really good experience. But that was because I always felt that's because it was my brother, you know, and like I'm not necessarily sure I want to share that experience with everyone. So like
I think that's okay.
I mean, I would play, I would do it, but I'm much more prone to doing a live stream. Like you have talked about doing a just play for EXM listeners before. I'm open to doing that because I want to share my love of video games with as many people as possible. I'm totally fine with that. But I'm not as interested in spending what little valuable time I have watching other people's. And I know that sounds brutal. I listen to gaming podcasts, but I can often do that while doing other things. I know you're saying like I can do other things while I watch streams. Well, I wouldn't because I've never sat down at my computer except if I'm playing a video game or I'm working on something that requires 100% of my attention. Otherwise, I'm up and about and I'm doing something else or I'm playing a console game or I'm whatever, right?
Yeah.
So because of my limited time, it means that I'm not going to watch streams, but I would consider participating in one.
Yeah, I think that's fair enough. I think that a lot of the people who are popular streamers, coincidentally, don't watch streams. So, you know, or they don't watch, because, like, some streamers stream for 8 hours a day. You see them, they're not watching streams, you know, they're streaming. So there's only so many hours a day. But this is their full-time jobs. There are people that's their job is to stream, and they make money from their YouTube videos and their stream revenues. And,
if you are one of those people, or if you stream a lot or whatever, we would, or if you anybody who has an opinion on streaming, we would like to hear from you. Like we realize, like Beau is much more well versed in this than I am, but I am in particular interested in those who have had positive and negative streaming experiences, because this is something I would like to learn more about, just because I feel like I'm being left behind a little bit by it. And I'm not necessarily saying I want to participate in it. I'm interested to hear what people think.
It's for the children, guys. He needs to make sure Gwen, you know, he stays up to what Gwen.
That's right. I need to know.
Can I say her name? You talk about Gwen, right? Or should I edit that out?
Not on this show. I don't, because there's a bunch of pervs listening.
Bastard! I'm sorry. It's actually Yennefer. It's her name.
God, I would have to kick my own ass. All right,
but yes, I think to put a final cap on it, live streaming is like pretty fun and awesome. We all like doing it. I have a question mark on the kind of culture it's going to create in the future. It feels like it may not be the bestest thing for people to get into, if that makes any sense, you know?
I definitely the negatives are pretty apparent, and it's just it'll be interesting to see once the dust settles, because right now you see YouTube getting into it, you see all these things, like it's still growing, it's still changing. Once everything settles and it becomes more regimented or organized, it'll be interesting to see what sort of, you know, culture we end up with, if maybe things get a little cleaner.
I got it for you. VR streaming.
Boom.
But you're just picturing streaming into my house, but imagine into like the Playboy Mansion. That might be fun.
Lord. That's for the next episode of the Dialogue Tree.
The Playboy Mansion? All right, sign me up. All right, so I think that pretty much covers the Dialogue Tree discussion. Thanks for listening, and now Crofton has some things he's going to say.
I do? I'm going to talk about our recommendations are this week, I think, Beau.
Oops.
Inventory management is a challenging and inexact science.
Now, we'll keep it short and sweet because we're running fairly long here. Episode's almost over, but I'm going to say my recommendation for this week's inventory management. And I know I've said before how I don't like to recommend games until I am done with them, in case they gets shitty at the end or whatever. I'm willing to now waive that for Ori and the Blind Forest. I know I've put in like I've almost completed the game, and I would honestly really recommend it. And I know like there's a lot of games these days that kind of run that sort of that line between arty game, art house game, and like mainstream console game. You've got a game that's like, oh, I'm a big dude with a big machine gun or whatever, and then I'm shooting guys in the face and their heads explode. And then on the other end, you've got like, I'm a flower floating in the sky and emotions are surrounding me. So like Ori walks a line that's closer actually to traditional games that you've played, like Metroid, Castlevania, and that sort of thing. It's really accessible. It's super beautiful, and the gameplay is really tight. So even though it's got an arty name like Ori and the Blind Forest, and it's all about there's emotions and feelies and all that sort of stuff, it's really still like if you've been holding off on this game because you think it's not like a real game. This is about as real as it gets. It's very difficult too. It's very forgiving. You can replay a lot. Like one of the mechanics is setting your save points actually, and it takes a certain amount of your energy to set a save point. So you'll do a difficult section, and then as soon as you're done, you're like, oh, I'm gonna put a save point here. And then you'll find out, oops, you blew all your energy trying to get through the section, and now you can't set the save point, so you've got to do the next section or whatever. So it's very difficult. People have compared it to the Dark Souls of platformers, but I don't think it's that hard, but it is satisfying, and it is my recommendation of the week. Ori and the Blind Forest. It's available on PC and Xbox One.
That's a great recommendation. Again, it's on my wish list, so I will eventually try that game. My recommendation for this week is going to be Warframe. I've talked a lot about Warframe last week. It was going to be my recommendation last week, but we also talked about Rocket League, which is good. Warframe, you owe it to yourself to give it a try. It's free to play. You'll get some cool stuff to do. It's fun being Space Ninja. You'll have to make the decision whether or not it's too grindy for you to try out all the other Warframes. Some of them are pretty easy to get. I wouldn't recommend spending a lot of money on it before you are either hooked or not. And it's a game you can play in small doses. It's very much, you're not in it for the story as much as you're in for the candy of being a ninja and flipping all over the walls and shooting stuff. So that is my recommendation, is Warframe. It's pretty good. All right, and so if you want more details, check out the Warframe episode. That's last week, episode 15, I believe. And that's going to cover it for inventory management.
All right, so Ori and the Blind Forest from Crofton and Warframe from Beau. Just before we get to the biggest and most important part of every show, the Mastergame Theatre quote of the week, we are going to just close up shop by going through some of the ways that you can follow or participate in the Exclamation Mark universe, our cinematic universe, if you will. EXMpodcast.com is our website where you can find all the episodes of the podcast, as well as Beau's magnificent write-ups and my blog entries, the question mark blog entries. We're on Twitter at EXM Podcast. Please follow us. And then whenever we're live streaming, you will get a handy little Twitter message letting you know we're going live. And then you can go to twitch.tv/EXM podcast and live stream and participate. Send us messages either mocking our physical appearance or perhaps, contributing to a dialogue on video games. We appreciate everything. Well, most things. Facebook.com/EXM podcast is our Facebook page. If you click like, you'll be notified whenever there's a new episode there as well. You can sign up on iTunes. You can sign up through Stitcher. And if you like us and our show, we would invite you to check out our sister show. It's called Good, Bad, or Bullshit. Goodbadbull.com is the website, and we review a random topic, not necessarily gaming related. It can be anything. Every week we determine whether it is good, whether it is bad, or whether it is bullshit. If you like the show, you will probably like that show. Beau, can people contact you or reach you individually, especially if they are interested in discussing your Blizzard pursuits?
Yeah, they can find me on Twitter at Beau Schwartz, and there you can find tweets about me playing Heroes of the Storm mostly, but a lot of other good stuff, including the Good Bad Bull related information.
Sweet. I also use my name in Twitter, and my Twitter account is at Crofton Steers, and you can find me twittering away random tweets about everything from video games to Canadian politics, because if you miss the sheer mind-numbing amount of A's this episode, it is pretty clear that we are Canadians.
Yeah, eh?
Yeah, eh? It's wicked pisser, eh? Oh, wait, that's Boston.
Going out
All
for
right.
a rip, eh? We did this last week.
Then let's do something else we did last week, Beau. The Mastergame Theatre quote of the week.
It's now time for Mastergame Theatre.
All right. So this Mastergame Theatre quote of the week is in the spirit of the Mafia 3 announcement. It is from Mafia 2. And setting the stage, Beau will be playing Henry Tomasino, who is a gangster of Italian background who received a bullet wound to the gut. I will be playing Joe Barbero, the main protagonist's bosom buddy, modeled perhaps after Joe Pesci, who will be providing medical advice to said character. So, without further ado, Beau, when you're ready, as Henry, I will be Joe. Tell me when.
If I don't make it,
Hey, don't go saying that, pal. It's just a scratch. The doc will give you a few stitches, then we'll all go out and celebrate.
no, really.
Shh. You shouldn't talk right now. Helps conserve your strength. I saw that in a movie once.
Yeah, and what happened to the guy in the movie?
He died.
Hey, fuck you, Vinny. I don't know.
It's Joey.
I'll cut the show and my ad lib won't be in it, so I'll cut it. Unless you think it seems like a dick thing to say.
You can put it up. It's for it's comedic. I thought that whole exchange was funny.
All right, then I'll leave it in.
No, not that exchange. I mean the exchange from the game. What I think you should do is put that ad lib right after the music.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'll find a good spot for it. Fuck
You're
you, Vinny.
always good.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fuck you.
All right.
Oh man, this stream is not for mature people, and I think the Kibbles 1997 just came in and said "sup guys" to a couple of dudes on the internet, going like "fuck you."
doing bad Italian stereotype.
Fuck you. Fuck you in the house you were born in.
Trust me, it makes sense in context.
Right.
A lot better in context. Now I want to play
Mafia. We're
Mafia.
going to get our account banned. I don't think we have a mature chat filter. You can have that. This stream is for mature audiences or something.
I'm going over the chat feed here, and it's funny because there's this guy that desperately wanted to be on Skype for some reason. I don't even understand why.
Baby 5412.
Yeah. Why would you want to be on Skype?
Please answer. Can y'all add me on Skype, please? And then let's kill Peeps. The guy named Let's Kill Peeps
Let's
says,
kill Peeps.
Dude, chill out, because killing Peeps is cool, but I draw the line at harassing these guys being on this Skype call.
It's true. Anyway,
That was awesome.
so that episode is now wrapped up.
Yeah.
It was good. I'm sorry it went long. It's hard to monitor the time on these things. So
yeah, there's also one other thing in the chat room that did you see that Not a Troller, the guy named Not a Troller, said, "Nice conversation. I made a picture of you two, but the link got deleted." I was like, why would you make a picture of us? I'm like, oh god.
I'm sure it's
I'm
probably
so happy I didn't see that. I think
sure only two men having sex with each other, and he's just photoshopped our faces on. That's what I imagined it would be.
Oh man. All right.
Yeah.
You know, if you guys can be funny, insult us, but be funny about it, that's fine. But you have to be funny. You can't be not funny.
That's true. I appreciate all
We're
attempts.
self-deprecating.
Okay.
Well, thank you for tuning into the live stream. That's another stream for this week. The show will be up on the feed tomorrow and on the YouTubes and on the EXMpodcast.com place. It'll be up, so, you know, but I'm probably going to play some heroes before I do post-production on it, because I got to get to rank 1. Thank you for tuning in. Crofton, you have any last words for our viewers?
Fuck you.
Fuck you, Crofton. All right, bye, guys.
No, fuck you.
Thanks for tuning in. No, fuck you.